Hello and welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's your girls, Lindsey and Krista. We're happy you're here.
So happy you're here. If you're watching on YouTube, I look like a gamer with the neons in the background. We have like neons give really nice lighting to things. It gives depth, all of these things. But it looks like a gamer. I look like a gamer right now. It's all good.
I feel like the next time we record, the whole house is going to be neon up. I was like, is that mirror now wrapped in neon?
Yeah. So there's a mirror in the background in the office little spot, and we wrapped it in a neon to give it a little zhuzh. I know.
Like what else? The plants are like, not me, not next.
The plants are not feeling it, but so happy to have you. If you're new to Almost 30, welcome. I'm so grateful you're here. We're two best friends coming at you live from totally opposite coasts. We fell in love in Los Angeles, started the podcast in 2016, which is pretty crazy. Went on tour, have done retreats, all of these amazing things with our community. And we're a podcast where we started talking about our transition from our 20s to our 30s. Now we are in our 30s, but we like to explore conversations around spirituality, wellness, all the things in a way that's super fun.
Super fun, relatable, digestible. And we just wrote a book. Just wanted to mention that, drop that little seed. It comes out in 2025, beginning of summer 2025. We're so excited for you all to get it. And we're going to be in person, seeing you all again. Our tour was years ago, and just some of the highlights of like our time with Almost 30 in the community. So to be with you again is getting us very psyched. So get ready.
Can't wait. Okay, I shared some, before we get into the episode with Ophi from AstroTwins, we talk about predictions for 2025. We talk about a new way to understand yourself using astrology that's never been talked about before. You get your woo-woo spiritual astrology fix. I need to tell Lindsey a story that I also get to tell you guys a story that I've been like bursting at the seams.
She never tells me stories like in private anymore, so we just save them for the pod.
That's not true. This one is just a juicy enough one that needs to be told on the podcast because it's an entertaining one.
Okay,
so I'm trying to think. Okay, so I'm going to change things so that people don't know who this is or look up this person or whatever. So I was on this certain dating app, and recently I was like, I'm getting off the dating apps. I don't want to do them anymore. I just feel like complete, and I feel really good and clear about, my next steps in dating. So as soon as I deleted it, I then got an email that someone had sent me like a rose or whatever the things are with that app. And I was like, oh, and I looked at it and there was like a really long message on it. So I was like, okay. And I opened it up, and it was basically someone that is an athlete and he plays football, let's say. And he's like, hey, I was sitting here with my friend who's really, really interested in you. Could I play matchmaker? And I was like, I don't know about that. Like, I was like, I don't know if I'm into it. Tell me more. And so he tells me more. And then he's like, can I send you pictures to your phone? And I'm like, no. Just
was this
Google
guy?
me.
Were you attracted to this guy?
He's cute. Mm-hmm.
But it's not for this guy.
But it's not for this guy. It's for his friend.
Got it.
So they were kicking it, looking at things, looking at profiles, and the friend liked me. But the friend's not on dating apps. And
which I like.
Yeah, which I'm into. And these people, very tall men, let's just say, very tall men and very good looking men. And so I'm like, okay, I'm in my athlete era. This is what I'm looking for. So he's like, let me send you pictures to your phone. And I'm like, let me just Google him. And he's like, how about I just send pictures to your phone? So like makes a point to like not be Googled, which I understand. As a girl that can be Googled, I appreciate not being Googled. So I was like, I get it. So I gave him my number. He texted me and we're like chatting, kiki, super fun with the friend. And then he's like, okay, are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then sends me these pictures. And I didn't look at them for 6 hours because I was like, there's no way that this man is going to be attractive. He's like 6 something, like super tall athlete. Just like, I was like, there's just no way. Like, I don't even care.
You're like,
about
he's
this.
Either an ogre or a model.
No, honestly, no, I thought ogre. I was like, he's going to be a beast. Like, this is just, I'm good. And so then 6 hours later, I open up my phone and I am like, this man is so fine. So fine. Looks exactly like what my, one of my healers emailed me about last week. She emailed me something and she's like, hey, actually, I feel your man in your field. This is what he looks like. And it was to the T what this man looks like.
Whoa.
The two people I showed this person to was like, this is what I picture you with. This is your man, like, et cetera.
Whoa.
So one of the pictures was of him with a bunch of celebrities, but it wasn't like corny, but it was like very big names. So it was like, okay, there was like a mix of things.
Yeah.
So I responded to the friend. I was like, all right, dude, good job. I'm in. He's like, cool. How should I connect to you? Da 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 da. And he's like, oh, can I also have your Instagram? I'm like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. And so I had that moment when I send my Instagram of like that fear where I'm like, dude, now he's going to see my Instagram and all these things. And it was really beautiful because me sending that actually put me in this like growth of really being like okay and loving my Instagram, because I think for so long I've been like, I don't want guys to see my Instagram. I don't want them to like see how deep I am. And I'm like, dude, what am I going to do? Like, it's actually so dope that I do what I do. It's so dope that I make money the way that I make money. It's so dope that I get to share this aspect of me. And if some man can't see that I'm deep and also a person, then he's a dumb head. So I had that moment. I had to go through that growth process of being like cool with my Instagram being showed, because I'm not just like a thought. And if you probably look at my dating profile, you're like, oh, she's a cool thought that I'm going to go on a date with.
Right.
So sends in that. And then I'm at lunch with friends, with two friends, and they said something about it because another friend had said something, whatever. And they're like, who's this guy? And I told them the story, and then I showed them the picture, and one of my friends goes, that's my realtor. And I go, what? She goes, I was with him Saturday. That's my realtor. And I go, what? And she shows me a picture of her at this house, and it's him in the picture. And I was like, what? Which is fine because I think he's retired, so it was fine. But I was like, dude, this is so weird. She's like, I literally was going to invite you to this. He's like so cool. I wanted you guys to meet. Like, I literally was going to invite you to this, and then afterwards I was going to connect you with this person. And I was like, so weird. And then my other friend to the right of her goes, that's my friend's boyfriend.
Oh, come on.
She goes, I think, she's like, they're off and on, but I think they're still together. And I'm like, what? And then she goes, oh yeah, the friend is this. And then shows me a picture of the friend who's a celebrity, famous person, the person that he's dating, and is on a show and was like in a drama part of the show. And then they Google him and he's like this like reality TV like type person. And I'm just like a
So they're
dumb
like,
head.
you can't Google him.
No, honestly, that's why I couldn't Google him, because there was like, yes, like
my
articles and all this
God.
stuff. And I'm just a dum-dum. Like I would have never known. I don't watch these shows. I don't watch
Same.
anything. And so I'm like, but isn't that so crazy that within 12 hours, I know all the tea?
Yeah, God was like, send her the information. Hurry up.
No, girl, that happened to me with that other man that I was interested in. God brought me every single person that's ever interacted with this human in his life and was like, here's every bit of information you would ever need to know about this person. Are you still down? Like literally within 12 hours, God was like, this is a no, and this is why.
Wow.
So bizarre. It was such an LA moment where I was like, whoa. And it was kind of creepy because it's like, you can't do anything anymore without people knowing or, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know everything about someone within 12 hours because this person knows this person who knows this person who did. It was like,
yeah.
So on Friday, I had met my husband, and on Saturday, we had already been broken up.
We were divorced.
on Saturday, we were divorced.
It's kind of, well, I wonder what that means about being on the apps. It's like, what's your decision? Because you went back on after getting off and then you got that email, which I don't think is bad. I would have done the same exact thing. I think it's like, so what is that? You know, was that confirmation of your decision?
That's a good point.
I don't know. Let's look into everything.
Oh, that's such a great point. There's been a few healers that keep talking about this year with me, illusions. They're like, you need to be careful of illusions with the men that you're talking to, with the men that you're dating. I think it's an LA thing too, that there's like a lot of illusions, like who people are, what they're about, what their intentions are. And so it was just like that. But it's pissing me off because I'm like, God, just let me like fucking live a little. Like, let me have a date and figure it out. Like,
let me
like,
get a week into it at least. Like that
no,
would have been
literally.
fun.
I'm like, let me like explore the psyche of this man and then decide what I want to do. Like I couldn't even play. It got
Wow.
cock blocked even before anything would happen.
Dang.
I know.
What about the friend?
The friend's dope, actually. I thought about that. I was like, oh, but I don't know if I want to go back and be like, yo,
I don't know.
I know.
All right.
I'll noodle on that.
Think
Because
about it.
honestly, yeah, I'll noodle on that. And just be like, hey man, I don't know.
God told me you're actually the one.
Honestly, I'm like, hey man, I found Google and I also found Reddit and I've decided I'm out. And
Yeah.
and for that, I'm out.
Wait, have you responded?
No.
No, okay.
I'm good. I'm not a dum-dum.
Yeah.
This
you're
is
not
being in your
dumb.
30s is knowing information and being like, I'm good, instead of being like, let's explore. Let's see.
Totally.
It's like,
Well,
no.
in your 20s, you have the information that you need usually quite soon, and you still proceed
100%.
because you're just like, I'm curious.
I'm curious.
Let me
you
have my
know?
heart broken. Let me get an STD. Let me like whatever. It's
Yes.
just, yeah, being in your 30s is a little more thoughtful and self-loving.
Yeah. It's like, and I just have to trust, like I'm not told information for no reason about people, about things, it's like I'm specifically guided for a very specific reason. And my team always keeps me abreast of what the
Yes.
frick's going on, to my
yes.
annoyance. But like, why would I find out that information and then be like, yeah.
And it's
Helpful,
just
though.
not, and it's not going to be, it's probably going to be crazy who and how you meet your person, but it's
Yeah.
also not going to feel like, there's a little like weirdness in it. It's
Totally.
probably going to be so flow, it's going to knock you over. But I don't know, there's just like a resonance to when that happens that doesn't have this like cocking of the head.
And I think it's just not going to be on the apps either, because if you look at me on the apps, like, you're like, oh, she's
beautiful. She's hot. She's also funny. She's
no, I agree. I
living her
don't
life.
think that you'd be really just like, she's hot and beautiful. Not to be a little cocky cack, but you're picking your best photos. I'm picking the photos that make me look hot and beautiful, period. So it's like, how do you portray other aspects of you? So I think what I'm marketing is what I'm getting, which is men that are very interested in my looks. And then when I kind of reveal the personality, they're like, whoa. I don't know if that's true, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
with
But
someone like this,
with certain people, they come in and they are also probably really attractive, but they don't have the depth and substance and range that you have. And so then you meet and you're like, and they're like, whoa, you're fucking amazing, but I don't understand what you're saying.
100%. I don't know, habla. They're like, this is just a lot.
They're like, I'm in love with you, but I have no
And I'm
idea what you're
confused.
talking about.
Honestly. I'm in love with you and I need a thesaurus. So that's my
Holy
LA
mole.
dating journey this weekend. And this is what's so crazy, is this all happens in a frickin' lick of a second. You're like, whoa, this second I'm doing this, and this second, whoa, this is happening. It's like, it's so fast.
You go from planning your wedding to
No, honestly. I was like, how am I gonna bear the child of someone that's so tall?
Yeah. The whiplash. I just remember the whiplash of it all, where things would happen really quickly. But that also happens I remember it happening towards the end, like where it's like
Totally.
things were like happening really quickly, like for better or worse. And I was like, not worse, but just if they're not the one, it would just kind of come in and come out.
Yeah. And
really
just the
fast.
lesson for me, I was so grateful for it, was I had a breakthrough on, my Instagram and my public persona, because that's been something that has been so stressful to me, that I've hidden from the men that I've been with, because I'm afraid of their perception of what I do or who I am. But I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm so dope. And what I do is so amazing. It's my dream. Like, if I knew when I was growing up in Ohio that I'd be the person I am today doing what I'm doing, then I'd be like, what am I don't know what I was hiding. I was
Yeah.
hiding this thing. And I think it was also my perception that men can't understand depth or nuance, or a man can't hold like the multiplicity of a woman. And I really had to be like, oh, that was just my experience with some men, that they couldn't
Mhm.
hold the various aspects of a woman, or like see different sides and have space for it. So then I just assumed that I had to be like one dimension for every man that I was with. And that was whatever it needed to be. But I'm like, oh no, I need to be everything, because that's going to be the
Mhm.
ultimate filter.
Mhm. And it's also for the person that you're meant to be with, like part of their growth in medicine too, to
Yeah.
be with someone like you. And like there might be some crunchy moments of like,
Oh
ooh,
yeah.
she has like a public persona and like this is the work she does and that's weird to me. But like the love and like the desire to connect and get to know you more and be in relationship overshadows that. And then they're like, oh my God, it is dope. Like this is crazy. It's a part of the whole alchemy of it all.
Yeah. I like was saying the other day, I'm like, dating me is like an ayahuasca ceremony.
Mm.
It's an experience. Like, it's being with me in any capacity is so beautiful, and it's the best, and it's so loving and expansive, but it's not for the weak. It's not for dum-dums.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my
Not
new
for
word
dum
for people.
dums. Mm-hmm.
Dum-dum heads.
Dude,
Dum-dum
that's
heads. All right, let's
crazy.
get into this episode. We were
Let's
cruising
get
for quite a
in.
bit.
All right. The I am system. I'm excited to share this with everybody. Ophi and Tali of the AstroTwins. Ophi came on the pod to share about this new system that I'm excited because I am excited because I think a lot of people get overwhelmed with astrology. So this really distills it down to personality success archetypes and based on your birth time, place, all the things that you would normally input for your astrological chart. But they simplify it and you're able to apply it both personally and professionally. And it was just really fascinating to not only learn how she came to this system, it literally downloaded in the middle of the night for her. Because I think, honestly, they are like astrology savants, the twins. Like they really, it's just a part of their DNA. But how they are able to apply this across the board. So there's 3 different types, and we're going to go over this in the episode. So I won't go deep into it now, but the innovator, the authority, and the maven. You and I are both mavens, but we're different types of mavens. We talk about that in the episode more in detail, but I really loved catching up with Ophi. We also talk about the astrology for 2025, end of 24 into 25, which is really exciting. I think, I'll save it for the episode, but I think we're coming to kind of an end of a cycle of sorts. And so she's kind of giving us insight into the themes for the year, what we can look forward to, and also like what's happening now towards the end of 24. I know it feels a little wickedy wild and crazy and chaotic, especially in like the political sphere, et cetera. But I love to pull up into astrology and just kind of see like that working and the whys behind it. And it gives me a lot of like peace, knowing that there's kind of a greater plan at play. So the new book from the AstroTwins is The Astrology Advantage. Use your horoscope for personal and professional success. It's really great. It's something that I think a lot of people in the professional world are going to lean into. They actually work with a lot of CEOs kind of on the DL. I hope people come out more and talk about how they use astrology. But this is really, really helpful in the workplace. So whether like you're looking at your team that you're working on and how you each can kind of lean more into your personality archetypes, it's fascinating. So here we go.
Astrostyle.com. You can also take the quiz to figure out which you are on the astrological personality test. And I love these ladies. We have a few other episodes with them that you can check out if you're interested in astrology. You can also search Astrology Almost 30. We have tons and tons of astrology resources for you. Almost30.com. You can also find Morning Microdose, our Clips podcast. It's between 5 and 10 minutes. It's just the best of Almost 30. It's like that daily dose of inspiration, insight, motivation. It's so good. It's like a TikTok for Almost 30. And then you can find me on Instagram at It's Krista. It's ITSKRISTA.
And I'm at Lindsey Simsick. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you on the other side.
Love you guys.
I was going through my just really more holistic medicine cabinet, if you will, and I had so many symbiotic products. I was like, I just feel really blessed. I feel blessed to have found a brand that I trust. I feel really supported in times when I want to feel my best, which is like all the time. So I have a routine with my symbiotica products every single day. They're liposomal delivery, which means that they're like this really yummy liquid delivery system, which makes it easy to take. I'm not like a pill girly. I'll take them, but I don't love it. Plus they taste amazing. So this morning I was taking Symbiotica's liposomal vitamin C. This is the best vitamin C supplement I've ever taken. I love that it has biotin in it, which is known as nature's most beautifying vitamins. And since taking it, I've just noticed such a difference in my skin. It's also really great for your immune system, for energy. I also take their magnesium L-threonate, which crosses the blood-brain barrier. It's a great form of magnesium. Magnesium, most people are deficient in, so highly recommend that one. And then I love their nootropic creamer. It's a new one they created. Honestly, they were answering my prayers when they made it. And it is yummy. It is creamy. It is rich, but it also slows the absorption of the caffeine. So I'm not feeling jittery with my coffee. And it's so nice. You are going to love it. So for our listeners, we got you. As always, you're going to go to symbiotica.com/almost30 and use the code almost30 for 20% off site-wide. Pretty major. If you bundle as well, you'll get an extra discount. So I would suggest doing that. Symbiotica, symbiotika.com/almost30 and use the code almost30 for 20% off. I love a good bread. I don't know about you all, but especially in summer, like I find when we're grilling, things like that, like it's essential that I have a good bread to put a burger on or a hot dog or just like a nice chicken salad. But I found for us, I mean, the best bread. It is 0 sugar, high in fiber, 0 grams of net carbs. It has protein. It's called Hero Bread, and they've reinvented bread and buns, really making my summer great. They're fluffy, delicious. I am totally obsessed. I'm not joking. I finished the bag of their new Hawaiian rolls in 2 days flat. And I didn't feel bad about it. And I was so freaking happy. But this bread, sometimes with like healthy bread, it just doesn't taste good. But this texture, oh my God. It is so good. The Hawaiian rolls are fluffy. They are chewy. They have this like flavor that's like kind of rich. It's not just like air. I also am loving their flour tortillas. So I'm a snob when it comes to flour tortillas. It has to be the right texture, mouth feel. And I made a wrap the other day and I was like, this is that. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I like. So again, 0 sugar, high in protein and fiber, 0 net carbs. It's for the girlies and guys who love bread but don't want to like feel like crap after. So keep the carbs out of summer without compromising flavor with Hero Bread. Get 10% off your order at hero.co and use code almost30 at checkout. That's hero.co, hero.co, and code is almost30. Enjoy. Okay, rocking and rolling. I'm so excited
Yes, thank
to
you
have
for making
Ophi
this
in the
happen.
house. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. Anytime we get to sit down with either of you or you both, it's always such a gift. And our audience never gets tired of talking about astrology ever. I feel like it's kind of this beautiful bottomless. Yeah, I don't want to say pit because it's not a pit. It's just this
Funnel.
exploration, funnel
Vast
of information.
universe. Yeah.
I learned something new about myself. And I also think like being in different seasons of our lives, like we must check in and tap into our astrological charts to see what information can really support us and behoove us in this season. But we're here to celebrate your new book, The Astrology Advantage. And I'm so fascinated by this IM system that we're going to get into today. And just for people listening, you know, if you are really familiar with astrology, amazing. You are meant to be here. And if you're not and or intimidated, I feel like this is the first approach to astrology that I feel like I can give to someone who's not familiar but is curious and really wants to like use it now instead of like studying it and learning it over a long period of time and taking the time to do that. Would you say that's
come up
true?
with a better description of why we did that than that.
Yeah, because I think information like this should be available to the masses. So I would actually love to just start with who you are. You've been on the pod before, but we have new listeners all the time. Who you and Tali are and just how this work has evolved throughout the years because you are OGs. When I say OG, I really mean OG. Sometimes we throw that around, but you are an OG.
Time has passed. It has. So, yeah, I mean, so I'm one half, the 4 minutes younger half of the AstroTwins, and accidentally stumbled into astrology when I was 21. My college boyfriend, who was a Virgo like you, got my chart done for me as a gift. And I knew I was a Sag, but I didn't know like that there were all these other parts of my chart, all the planets, the moon, the rising sign, the north and south nodes. So when I discovered those, I was like, oh, okay, this really explains all these kind of complex, contradictory parts. Probably how people feel when they discover internal family systems. Like, oh, I can be this and this. I don't have to, and I was in college when you're really moving toward trying to be this one-dimensional person and frantically figure out what you want to be when you graduate. So it opened up like these windows to me of like, I can do all these different things. So, yeah.
Did you ever thank that boyfriend? Like, that's
Absolutely.
crazy. That's
we're good. It's literally been 30 years. And, oh, yeah.
Isn't that crazy
we're super
how
close still to this day.
Those doors open where, like, you're shown something that really sparks something within you, and then you follow that, and it was either a person that opened that door. It's just wild to me.
I found him a book. I was actually kind of divinely led to buy this book. It was yellow, much like the cover of this book.
Love it.
And he was really into ancestors. I flipped open to a page about how to make an ancestor shrine, so I bought it for him. But it was about becoming a Yoruba priest, which he now is, like a major one, and has been for many years. So we both set each other on our paths.
Wow.
And I send people to him, and it's
beautiful.
great.
That is so sweet. I think a lot of people, just to double click on the path piece, I think a lot of people get really tripped up, especially at this point in their lives, turning potentially almost 30 or kind of well into their early 30s, where we think we should be somewhere where we're not, or we think we should know more, or we think we should have a defined path. What does it mean if it feels really unknown and unclear? And so I'm curious, just to start there, like how would one, or how maybe did you use astrology to like either define the path or just trust it a little bit more?
Well, I mean, I think this is the inspiration really for the book, because I have a weird photographic memory, and so does Tali. So I can download large amounts of information, memorize it, and churn it back out. But most people can't. So my friend calls me a celestial savant. Okay,
cool.
I'll take it. But it's not fair that other people have to do that to use their astrological charts. So, over the years we were first started with columns and magazines like
Yeah.
Teen People, but then started seeing clients. And I became really obsessed with how can I make this something that they can take with them? Because to your point, information goes in one ear and out the other if we can't embody and start using it. I always say information disappears in an hour. It becomes knowledge if you use it for a month, and it becomes wisdom if you use it for a year. So
Love
how
that.
do we make it, not drop out of your other earlobe? So, and that is that we have to be able to have it at our fingertips and tap into it
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah, totally. So I want to get right into the IM system. So I am more familiar with kind of the chart at large and not knowing exactly how to read it, but having, people throughout the years, you both included, help me read my chart. But I would love to just get into this simplification. And we'll break down how to use it. But can you explain the IM system?
Yes. So we renamed what are called the modalities or qualities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable signs. The zodiac is divided into 4 elements. There's 12 signs: fire, earth, air, and water. And then 3 qualities or modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And that's based on the seasons. The cardinal signs are the 4 ones that start every season: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And they're the leaders, the trailblazers, the pioneers. So we name them the innovators because nobody can remember all those astro jargony words. But so what we did with the chart, we didn't necessarily simplify it. It's like when you eat all your like you could eat an entire aisle of produce, or you could put it in your juicer and then get a glass of green juice. So we're not simplifying it into like, this is your sun sign, you're a Virgo, so you're like this. We're taking the whole chart, but putting it in a blender and giving it to you so you can digest it. So the cardinal sign, we use 13 parts of the chart: sun, moon, rising, north and south nodes, and all the planets. So if most of your planets are in cardinal signs, then you're an innovator. So the authorities are the ones that have the predominantly fixed sign charts. That's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And those are the signs that fall in the middle of every season. So they're the builders, sustainers, producers, planners. You want to have one of those on your team.
Yeah.
They're the ones who like to run around with a clipboard and organize things and, are happy to make your travel reservations for you or pick the restaurant. Whereas the innovator really needs an authority usually. And then the mavens are mostly mutable. You and Krista are both mavens. So that's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And those are the communicators, the ones who go out and find all the ideas and then digest them for the masses, which is exactly what you do. And put your own unique spin on it. Mavens are all about communication, going back and forth with people, dialogue, questioning things. They're the signs that fall at the end of every season. So they transition us and get us ready for a new season. Funny that you used the word season a few minutes ago. So
Yeah, I read about each one before you sent me my own IM chart, and I was going between the innovator and the maven, and the maven makes perfect sense. But it's very rare if someone is all one. So usually
it's
people are
for someone to be all one. My stepdaughter has the most I've ever seen. She has 0 innovator, 11 authority, and 2 maven.
Wow.
It's like anyone born in the summer of 1999. Probably listeners here now because she's going to be 25. So yeah, they had this rare time where a lot of planets were in fixed signs, in the authority signs. So, and she's a super creative Leo, but what is she? She's an accountant. Which is the last thing I would have ever picked for her. But knowing that she's that heavily authority, I'm like, why does she loves the stability and the security and the 9 to 5 and the predictability. I'm an innovator. My younger daughter is an innovator. And their dad is a maven. So we had the whole family. So, of course,
Wow.
Clementine, the authority, when it's holiday, she makes the menu, she cooks, she comes with all the presents. I mean, she's already probably buying presents now. So the beauty of this is that you can know just with one archetype what your strengths are. So I'm a Sagittarius, like I said, which is one of the maven signs. Your sun sign is always really the main character of your life. You're not going to stop being your sun sign. But I'm an innovator. I have 6 innovator planets. So I express my Sagness in this very, I don't work for anyone. I have to be in charge. I don't like being told where to be, how to do things. I need a lot of freedom and space. That is very Sag. But nonetheless, I like to own my own business, that kind of thing. So you can really tap into, if you're, in that mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s career crisis or life crisis. It really does. And in the book, we talk about what kind of relationship style works for you, career, communication, everything.
Yeah, the communication piece I think is something I've been thinking about a lot, especially, personal and professional. So I guess when we're looking at would you call it the I am type?
Yeah.
Okay. The I am type, the dominant one, I guess, can we get into that and describe how we can best communicate? And also I thought it was interesting, you said innovators should have an authority on their team. So any dynamics that would be beneficial for people?
Absolutely. So we've assigned a different time zone to each of them. Innovators live in the future. They're always kind of dreaming things up. You'll see that I do it all the time. That we look up, there's this imaginary movie screen over our head. We're always downloading. You even asked me that. We're always downloading from the future, bringing it into the present. We don't like to be in our bodies that much. We trip over things. We're we forget to eat, but we're dreaming up this vision that's going to, and we bring it into reality. Authorities, but for communication, then we might seem like we're not paying attention, or we'll interrupt, or we'll do things when we're just, because we're hey, I'm in the middle of this process. So authorities are very linear. Their time zone is the past. It doesn't mean they're all stuck in the past, but they're looking at in 2002 I did this, and then I did this, and then they're very sequential with things because they are the authorities, they're the masters. Their job is to become the experts. So it really does matter what school they went to or certification they had, because they need to be trusted by the world and guide people. So they will give structure to an innovator, but sometimes they'll make an innovator feel boxed in. An innovator gives an authority something to structure, something exciting to be part of, where they can use their planning and organizing skills, but can frustrate the innovator sometimes because they're where are you? I need to know what you want from me so I can deliver and get my shiny gold star. It's really important to authorities to be praised. And then we have the mavens, and your time is the present. So you are at your best when you're in the moment, doing what you're doing 110% full on, which is,
focused.
You and Krista are so good at that. Whether it's coaching or making music or just listening to people, the maven loves to be in the here and now with another person or just in meditation. And they can get scattered, though. They can end up with a maven mess because they have a million projects happening at once. So
what do you mean?
What could that be? Right. So an innovator with a maven can be really great, but they'll go into ideation overload and get nothing done unless an authority comes in. An authority and a maven, that can really get into this parent-child power struggle sometimes. I have a friend who are mavens, and their partners are authorities. And they're they love the security because it makes them feel all right, the partner's holding down the fort so I can go in and fly free and explore. But then they just feel mavens are very interactive. They need a mirror. In relationships, we call them the idealist, the attacher, and the mirror. So the maven needs a playmate, a person who's going to sit down and talk to them at the end of the day.
right.
That's hard with innovators. Ben Affleck is an innovator, and J-Lo is somewhere between an authority and maven. We don't know her rising sign, but one way or another, she's probably a maven, and she probably needed Ben to just like be with her everywhere. And the innovator needs to go off into their creative cloud.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And so in terms of like how a maven, for example, if they are communicating their ideas, is it best that because they live in the present that they just embody it and show it?
Yes, but they need to give the others what they need. So the innovator is going to want to know, like, this is really cool, but how does it fit into this big picture? How can we get a celebrity attached to this? Can we? The innovator wants to like turn it into an empire. Like they love the maven creativity.
Yes,
but,
okay. So it's important to know, I think, in any, whether it's like personal relational dynamic or within like a team, if you're at, if you're in kind of a more corporate setting or maybe entrepreneurial setting, how you can feed off of each other.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
sounds like the right combination and or understanding of each other creates a lot of progress, success, innovation. Okay.
Absolutely. We give very specific guidelines how to do that in the book. And then we have a new area of our website at astrostyle.com/success where we're going to be doing like the 2 words to never say to an innovator, authority, and maven, and articles like that people can just use right away. Yeah, the maven would, an innovator might have like a really big idea, but the maven will take the presentation and make it like perfect aesthetic, add music, add multimedia, make everyone feel something. Because the innovators get lost in our heads. The mavens bring us into our bodies, into the moment. And when you make someone feel something or tell a story, they're apparently 7 times more likely to remember it. So mavens definitely have an astrology advantage there. And the authority is going to take notes and make sure that all the big ideas got captured and put it in a project management board and make sure it gets done.
I need those in my life.
Exactly.
My husband and I recently hired an assistant for the family.
Good move.
Both for personal and professional, and it has helped me so much. I was not a great delegator before. I feel like I have a little bit of that control freak where I'm like, I should just do it. I think it's easier if I just do it, whatever. And I've learned slowly to delegate, and it's allowed me to be in my creativity so much.
I love that. That is so smart. That's a perfect hack.
And she's, I think, a authority.
Probably.
Yep, she's an authority.
Probably.
Yep. She loves systems, love organization. You know.
No doubt. I mean, you'll have to. You can find out the same way you do your birth chart. You just put your time, date, and place of birth into the calculator, astrostyle.com/IAM.
Great.
And then it just basically shows you your chart like a spreadsheet instead of the wheel with all the symbols. So it's the exact same data as your birth chart, but broken down. So you're like, oh, wow, I only have 1 fire planet, or I have no authority. Or like, so when you can see it at that bird's eye view snapshot, it becomes very clear right away what your strengths are.
Right.
So it's like a strength finder, Enneagram. So I think that's brilliant for a maven to have an assistant because it lets you be in the moment. It's probably really hard for you to articulate what help you need because you're just in it, doing it, and you don't want to stop to explain. So if you have someone who's kind of watching you and being like, okay, that's where the Cheerios are, that's when you...
Yes.
Yeah.
And to have someone kind of bring things that I've said in the past to the present where I can kind of remember and anchor them, you know?
Right.
In terms of decision making, I feel like, we're living in such an interesting time with social media and AI, and there's a lot of potential outsourcing happening where we're not necessarily trusting our intuition and or the way in which we make decisions. So I would love for us to get into decision making related to the I am archetypes because I don't know. I as a new mom, I've found myself in moments where I'm just doubting myself and I'm forgetting the way in which I'm meant to make decisions for me, for my family. It's really frustrating.
Once again, hitting on exactly one of our main motivations for this. Did you know that the average adult makes 38,000 decisions a day?
What?
Yeah.
That's why I'm tired.
Yeah. And over 2,000 are just about food alone.
Wow.
So this is like a Harvard Business Review stat that I found a few years ago. And
That's
so
crazy.
I've always jokingly said that astrology is the ultimate cut through it. People always ask me and my sister, how have you written 21 books? How do you get so much done? Because I have astrology, I don't over deliberate on decisions. I can make them very quickly. So that's my hope with this. Like, I'm an innovator. I know what I need. So I will decide this way. But I also know that you're a maven and you need this. So I'm not going to be a jerk about it. I'm not going to be like, well, I'm just going to do it my way. How does the maven get what they need within reason? You know, outside of the bounds of codependence, like, you know, okay, all right, the authority needs this much certainty. I can provide 60% of it, but I can lovingly say to them, I'm not going to be able to help you with that level of a guarantee. If you want to ride with me, you got to be up for some unpredictable spontaneity. If you don't, get off the roller coaster now, because the innovator thing goes up high. You know?
Okay.
So give them a choice.
So the innovator has kind of this fluctuation in decision making, and that's healthy and good.
Yeah, we're very instincul.
Okay.
The authorities want to plan.
Got
the
it.
mavens want to know how they feel in their bodies. They
Yeah,
want to get all somatic about it. They're like, let me tune in.
Yep, let me tune in,
listen
baby.
to Joe Dispenza, mix some oils, eat my, chia pudding, and then I'll get back to you.
I totally relate to that, but more so like the feeling in my body, if something feels really good, excites me, I feel it on a physical level. I get a lot of energy and I feel like I could work on it for a long time.
Yeah.
And also I get kind of these like downloads one right after the other. And with other ideas that don't feel as aligned, it's more of a push, a force, a racking my brain, a frustration.
That's really, really astute. Because one of the maven signs, two of them are ruled by Mercury, actually, Gemini and Virgo. So mavens can get in their heads that way.
Oh yeah, big time.
But they're not operating at their peak strength when they do. What you just described is this connection to creativity, that divine flow. That is really what mavens need more than anything. Because when you're doing things with your hands, I think that mavens should take up whether you're like drawing, painting, knitting, just gardening, doing anything with your hands, starts to balance your right and left brain. I think innovators should do that too, actually.
Oh, I like that. Cooking does that for me. I'm wondering if I can,
anything like creative where you're just like in your imagination, because Pisces and Sagittarius are the other two maven signs. So it's very much left and right brain balancing for the mavens.
Right.
The authorities, they have what I call loss aversion, which is when you get driven by fear and the fear of what you're going to lose actually causes you to lose even more because you hold on to the status quo and don't evolve. So if you're an authority and you're listening to this, and you're like, maybe I should just go to law school because I can't figure out what I want to be for the rest of my life at age 25 before your Saturn return. I really encourage you to just go out and work and experience life. Push because I think the biggest student debt holders are probably authorities who are afraid of disappointing their parents, not knowing, they're the ones who get married before their Saturn return because all their friends do, not because they want to.
So they're like,
that kind of thing.
I don't want to say a follower, but there's kind of a follower of the status quo, you're saying.
They want to know the right and wrong decision. They like rules. They want to know. But what happens is that they end up adopting external rules when they haven't found their own inner authority. And that comes with time and wisdom. So they do need something to handle the anxiety of uncertainty more than anyone else.
Yeah, can we talk about uncertainty a little bit? Because related to astrology, we know, we'll pull up a little bit out of the IM for a second, but we know that there are certain transits happening at different times in our lives. And so I guess what do you recommend to someone who is moving through a season that feels like very uncertain, whether it's like in their professional life, in their personal dating life? What can they look at?
They can definitely look at the outer planets. That's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and do what's called a transit chart. So your chart never changes. It's a freeze frame snapshot of where all the planets were when you were born. But there's something called a bi-wheel chart. So you put your chart in the middle, and then you show the moving planets in another wheel around it, like a camera, aperture, old school camera. So you can see how long a season is going to last. And then when you know, okay, I'm in my Saturn return, case in point. I'm not, but I'm just saying like a listener is likely to be. So you know that's 2.5 years. You're in kind of a boot camp. But you could also look at, where's Jupiter in my chart? What house is it falling in? Oh, it's in my 12th house of endings. So until next June. So why don't I not try to force myself, go explore my creativity, do things that are 12th housey? I would get a professional astrology reading or learn how to do a transit chart on your own. We have lots of materials for that. And just breathe through it, because you'll see those seasons do pass. But if you swim upstream and you may get through it, but you'll suffer all the way through.
Yeah, I think those tough seasons, just ones that are especially like it's like an abyss. You can't really see a few feet in front of you. I think we want to just get out and rush through. And so if for those that kind of need to get out, I think it also helps to have a bit of a timeline astrologically to say like, okay, by June, there's going to, or around June, there's going to be some relief. And I think that really helps me to understand, you know, what I'm getting into.
I mean, and we have PDF somewhere. I'll try to get you the link for it for people. The seasons of, we call it ages and stages of astrology. So there's your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, 60s, there's your 20s. Like you will have at age 42 what's called the Uranus opposition.
Yes.
So
I feel like we talked about this and referenced.
Yeah, we did. Adam Levine.
Adam Levine.
Yep,
Okay.
we did. It's the astrological midlife crisis. When your fertility is on its last gasp. So this Kundalini energy rises up and you suddenly feel like Uranus is the planet of youth. So it's like this surge of life force energy where you just want to sleep with everything in sight and preferably not what you're married to. And if you're married. And, it's like if we don't know that that's coming, it's like, because I feel like we spend way too much time trying to be like, let me get everything perfect so nothing changes. And then it's like, that's so boring.
Yes.
We are not encouraged to, like, we're making 38,000 decisions a day, maybe more. So, of course, we're overwhelmed, but then we're encouraged to live our lives like, just put yourself in a smaller and smaller box. Wait, no, have adventures and go discover. And it's just so confusing. You need a guidance system. And that's what I am is meant to be. At least you're like, I know my operating system. And that gives me more free will.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about like how much pressure is put on the 20s and 30s in particular around establishing your life. Like as if it's going to be a fixed thing beyond 39, 40, right?
Which is like and I'm 51 now. So, and I started, that's why I literally said I got my chart 30 years ago. I could flash back to the 90s in a second, but I can absolutely say that your 20s and 30s are like a cool practice. I mean, a lot happens, but like legit, your 40s bring a whole new, and apparently your 50s do too. And you got your Chiron return at 49, 50. That's when a lot of women are like, even if I am happily married, all of a sudden, like, I'm the main act here, and I'm really interested in my own creativity, and like going to Portugal with and starting a Golden Girls commune with all my friends. I'm not saying I'm doing that, but if someone asked me, I would.
And it's interesting that falls after, whether it's like childbearing age, where it's like there's kind of this resurgence of the identity of like your own identity.
It's like, makes you, I mean, I know you guys, at least Krista is here for the aliens. I'm like, someone must have designed this, because this is too weird.
Too weird. Okay. So that's helpful. I feel like for people moving through just that unknown. When it comes to relationships, we talk about all the time on the podcast, especially in this season where Chris is dating.
Right.
I'm married. There's just a lot of different flavors of conversation around this and a range of experiences in our audience. So this is going to be great. But to start with love and dating, we're in a time where people are dating a lot online, which is, not a bad thing, but it's just a different thing. Where I'm hearing from friends that like people aren't approaching each other, both men and women. It's just a really different and interesting time to be dating. So for each type, I guess, how would you recommend that people, attract and or connect with potentially their person?
Oh, yeah. We have a very fun part, including compatibility in the book.
Amazing.
I'm going to get on my Sag soapbox for a minute and say, if we can come up with over 70 pronouns for gender, then we've got to come up with some other varietals for relationships. Like, can we just be relationship fluid in this world? I know we are, but it has all these like overly like, you're poly, you're this. No, I just, just don't want to be owned,
labeled,
or put in a box, or have to like ditch my best friend who's the opposite sex, or have people like, so when are you,
Yes.
And I really think that has to do with why people are avoiding each other too. Tali was saying she was watching old Sex in the City. She was like, they had flip phones with no cameras. No wonder they did whatever they wanted. So like your relationship is happening on stage and it's like where you're going to fall on your face the most while the whole world watches. So no wonder people are like relationship shy.
Yeah.
So
that's a great point.
We gave a secondary name. The innovators are the idealists. I like to say the independents also. So I recommend for innovators, like you don't ever have to live with your partner, or maybe keep a second space. I always have.
Love that.
If you can. Any way possible.
What does that look like for you?
Well, it looks like I've had this apartment for 22 years that,
Amazing.
If I have to rent it out or do whatever to keep it, I need a space on my own. I brought him up before, but Ben Affleck, innovator, like all I'm seeing every time, I open a gossip magazine is like, Ben Affleck closes on a Brentwood home of his own on J-Lo's birthday. Okay. I was like, if he had just kept his own home as an innovator, they might still be together. But that's not acceptable. So it's so stupid. It's like he's moved out, so now they have to follow this societal script and get divorced, right? Maybe the dude just needs some space.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure, and then we get confused as individuals in a relationship because of that pressure, and then we start to act a little funky and not in alignment with like, hey, I just need space. And the other person's like, great, does that make you happy? Awesome.
Right. I mean, we would all do that. And people are doing that, but nobody's talking about it in a way that it's become a thing like a they, them. We need the they, them of relationships. So I'm hoping this helps people in some way own their choices and what feels right to them, because it's not societally acceptable. And then you move in with someone and you're just like, you get the Esther Perel trap or whatever. I know that's the reason she's so popular. But authorities do like to live with, like my authority stepdaughter, who's turning 25, is already engaged. Her authority boyfriend, they've been together since high school. They live together. But you know what? They're actually happy.
Yeah.
So people are like,
it's like stability.
Right.
Okay.
They're getting what they want. I mean, no marriage or relationship is guaranteed anyway, but like right now, to use your word, in this season of her authority life, she's very happy and satisfied by that. So good for her. I'm not going to tell her what to do. My innovator self thought I'd never get married. So yeah, but what was right for me isn't right for her. And then for mavens, so authorities are we call the attachers. So they have a secure attachment style, and they love to build memories and a legacy. Their joy is in like the nostalgia, we go here every year, or we planned this trip for 10 months and then we went for our anniversary, we're doing this. And they really do like make those moments special. So, when it's time to feel special and really honor an occasion in a relationship, nobody does it like an authority. And it is very touching. My entire family is all innovators. My mom, my dad, and my 2 sisters, and my daughter, and my niece. It's crazy. So my dad's idea of celebrating their anniversary was like he was a landscaper. He's like, I cut some roses for one of my, customers' shrubs. Like,
Cute.
I love him. No, because he just remembered it was my mom's birthday because he's 10 years ahead and it's mine. So, whereas the authority probably is like planning a surprise, and this kind of thing. So, and then the maven is the mirror. So they love to sit down, digest the day, dialogue, couples massage, couples meditation, go to a concert, just dance and be like high on life together. Like, I don't know if that describes your bliss, but
It's interesting. Yeah, I need to look up Sean's because I'm like,
yeah, we do.
I'm thinking he's either innovator or authority.
Yeah.
But there's some maven in there too, so I'm curious.
Well, everyone has a spread. So like also like we call it Astro Ayurveda. We have a part of the book too, balancing your charts. So you want to know if you're high, low, or spread out evenly. Like Krista is a maven, but she's 445 in her IM. So she has more range. And you were lower, I think, on authority, like 2, right? So for you might attract an authority to balance you out, or you totally did your Astro Ayurveda with that, cosmic dosha by hiring a family assistant. Right. So I'm low on maven. I don't always like to do social media and that kind of thing. I always have to push myself or hire that out.
Yeah.
So
okay, I like that. The balancing of. So if someone's looking at the percentage or numbers associated with each type in their specific IM chart, they can look at the lowest number and just figure out how they can either invite more of that in themselves or maybe bring someone into whether it's a professional dynamic or personal dynamic. And is being the same in a romantic relationship potentially really good or potentially
pros and cons. And we have how they all match up in the book. But innovator, you can be ships passing in the night, but you're never bored. Maybe you should have a business together so you have something outside of yourselves you're both excited about. Innovator authority can become a little parentalized, or the authority feels like they never, know what to expect. They can never make a plan. The innovator's always late. Changing it. Innovator and maven, it's fun, but the maven doesn't always get the innovator's undivided attention. They drift off to their projects. So when you're both in the zone with your projects, it's fine. But like when the maven needs to talk things through, the innovator gets impatient. Like, what's the point?
Right.
Or vice versa. And then authority and maven, definitely the authority can be like, treat you like a misbehaving child. It's the worst. And then maven, it's always fun, but like, who's going to be the adult in the room?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
For those out there that are parents, I thought it was fascinating to kind of think about this in terms of our parenting style.
Yep, we have a whole chapter on that.
Yeah,
too.
which is awesome. I was dipping into that.
This
I know
you
morning.
Gotta look up your son too.
Yeah, I do have to look him up.
I should have done that for you ahead of time so we could have dished on this. Yeah,
I do have his chart somewhere, so I can quickly look it up. But,
put them both in.
Let's first talk about just kind of how how that can show up in dynamics as a parent. Like, what are mavens prone to do as a parent?
Absolutely. So maven parents are prone to like wanting to be their kid's BFF. If you see the parent who, you know, I guess in the, the early aughts, they'd be wearing a juicy couture sweat suit with a whale tail peeking out, even though they're 45 and their daughter's 16. They're always cheering out. They're at every sports game. They're the mom that the kids all love and can talk to. They're eternally youthful, fun, open, like, if you have questions about sex or need condoms, or the parents that give it to you, or the friend's parent that you go to and they offer you a bowl of them, that kind of thing.
Totally. Okay.
So, and I'm always up on pop culture, but are also can be embarrassing and tease their kids a little bit too. So if you have an authority kid and you're a maven parent and you tease them, you might be traumatizing them a little bit. So it's very important to know how you are and how they are, and to modulate, to find the right balance.
Okay.
Like, I don't believe in using astrology as like, well, I am who I am. It's like, yes, you are, but once you gain awareness of that, then be responsible for it. Like, if I know as an innovator it's hard for me to be on time, I'm going to leave an hour earlier if I have to. I'm like a 3 hours early to the airport person, because I know if I don't try to be 3 hours early, I'm going to be 3 minutes late and miss my flight. So just know your tendencies. I think the authority parent is the one that gives the kids the structure and the bedtime and the training and the Montessori and then but they can be so stifling too.
Right. And not really like learning their child for who they are, rather kind of putting on them what they think is best.
Right. They do create the safety and the tradition though. So like it is in some ways very nice. I think Kris Jenner is an authority, pretty sure. So, they have the house that everybody comes to for the holidays a lot of the time.
Got it.
But, there's 360 other days of the year when we don't need everything to be that formal. So play to your strengths. You get Christmas authorities, okay? But leave me the hell alone on Halloween. And then the innovators as parents are like, it's so hard for the innovators sometimes, because they're the ones who are like bringing their laptops to the game and working, taking a Zoom call during their kids' hockey practice, feeling guilty about it, and then like overscheduling their kids and then underscheduling. They just really have a hard time with like the routine. Like I said, innovators are always in the future. They don't like to be in their bodies as much. And there's nothing more embodying and like mundane than parenting a young child.
It's true.
So parallel play is really important for innovator parents. Like, set them up with the slime and the sheet and the things that they can make a mess on, and then you go do your Zoom call.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I am a new mom. My son is about a year old. I cannot believe it. One thing I didn't realize with kiddos is how fast they grow. It is insane. They outgrow their clothes in like 2.5 seconds. It's crazy. But Posh Peanut, I found them, a friend recommended this brand. They get it. They make super stretchy and colorful clothes that seem to grow with your child. So you get longer wears out of those really adorable styles. It's just one of those things where I found myself like buying clothes every week because I felt like they were getting smaller and smaller, but I've gotten some incredible wear out of some Posh Peanut pieces. I wanted to mention what I love. So I just got the French Terry cargo joggers for Mav. I got them in at the 12 to 18 month size. They're perfect. They're like seasonless. Honestly, like he'll wear them on like cool mornings here in the summer, but I know we're going to wear them all fall and winter. So soft, really great for delicate skin. It stretches, like we said, breathable and lightweight. It's so freaking good. And they use Papuk Viscose from Bamboo. So it's really soft. It wicks well. It's flame retardant free, no shrinkage, and regulates body heat naturally. Mav runs really hot. So these are amazing. They have incredible prints for girls and boys and so many different styles. Please check out Posh Peanut. I'm obsessed with them. Again, this fabric is so high quality. It's 4 times stretchier than cotton. It'll grow with your child. It's breathable and chemical free, things that are important to me. So if you are a parent who are dressing little kiddos, this brand is for you. It's loved by over 1 million parents. Right now, Posh Peanut is offering our listeners 20% off your first order with promo code ALMOST30. Go to poshpeanut.com/almost30 and use the promo code almost30 for 20% off your first order. That's poshpeanut.com/almost30, promo code almost30. I don't know about you, but there was a time at which at the end of a really long day, like working, running around the city, et cetera, like I would Jones for just a glass of wine, just, sit on the couch. Inevitably it would turn into 2. But I can't be hungover. I was bloated, just so many negative health implications. Like I can't do that anymore. And I know a lot of you are feeling the same way. And that's why I'm really, really into Soul's new out of office THC gummies. You've heard us talk about Soul. This is an incredible brand of CBD and THC products. And they're perfectly microdosed. So you get blissed out, not freaking blitzed. Do you know what I mean? I'm super sensitive, so I can't really take high levels of THC. And this is like the perfect dose. I do the 1.5 milligrams ones, but they have 3 milligrams, they have 6 milligrams, a single, double, or triple, you know what I mean? So you can do what's best for you. But I love their products. They are really obsessed with the quality of their products and the relationship that they have with the farmers, et cetera, where they are sourcing their hemp. And I just love that. The out of office gummy that I told you about gives you that really fuzzy, euphoric microdose feeling without sending you over the moon. So honestly, you could go for a jog. You could check your emails. You could watch your favorite TV show. It's amazing. I recommended this to a friend the other day who was just feeling super scattered and anxious and just couldn't focus on anything. And they were by eating one gummy, she waited 30 to 45 minutes. She was able to do all the things that she was dreading doing, had so much anxiety over, and could do it just effortlessly. And she was just so happy. So Soul is the brand. You can go to getsoul.com and use the code almost30 for 30% off your order. That's 30% off your order using code almost30. One last time, getsoul.com, and the code is almost30 for 30% off. The mundane parts of life, I feel do you think that's also kind of hard for a maven too?
Absolutely. Unless you want to be making slime, it's not fun.
Right.
No, it's mind numbing. Your kids will be fun, but then they'll then they think that you're the traveling circus when you're too fun. And they're my friend who has 3 kids who's a maven, she's always, they have a blast, but she's I got to get away from these people. I have no space. I want an adult. But the authorities, they freaking love it. They're oh, I love every diaper. I love every milestone, every movement. They're the mom bloggers. They're the
yes.
trad wives. They're probably making sourdough starter as they're listening to this.
And it's funny because I think that is so much of what we see on social media if we're talking about parenting, where it's kind of the more authority aspects of it. And then
yes.
I think as parents, we think we should be more like that. So just
absolutely. And work and parenting and relationships. I always say we live in a type A world, authority.
Yeah.
The problem is not what authorities do. It's just that they're 33.333% of the I ams of the types in this world. So the rest of us are shamed into this is when I do my classes, my group coaching classes where I use I am, there's this moment every time of immense relief, usually among the mavens, the innovators too, but the mavens more than anyone, because they've been shamed and teased and just like put on meds or whatever, just like no judgment there of any kind, but like people are always trying to fix them so they'll be more like authorities.
Yes.
And it's like, F off. I am like, so can we create a pluralistic world for people to have relationships, childhoods, processes? Though I've never worked for anyone for more than 9 months of my life. I got recruited personally by Gloria Steinem to work at Ms. Magazine.
Wow.
Great. But I lived in Brooklyn. I had to take a subway, and I would drink my morning coffee, get in the zone, and I would not want to go into this office because I was so inspired about my work. And I'd be like, damn it, I got to take a shower. I got to get dressed. I lost all my creative gems for this commute just to be on time because everybody else was
in the
doing
office.
it.
With the team.
It doesn't, I mean, I'm glad in some ways that's changing, but... And then the authorities and mavens do need time in the office, FaceTime with people. So like, I'm hoping that as people adopt this, try this out, that they will be like, oh, okay, we can make a system that works for people's types and have a cohesive culture that everybody can still come together and contribute in, but nobody feels shamed by.
100%. Yeah, I'm waiting for the day, and I'm sure you've infiltrated the like more corporate finance
I have,
world.
actually.
I'm sure you have. And because I feel like there's so much untapped potential and so much untapped explosive in a good way dynamics that could be happening within teams, but there's so much ego and projection.
So much.
That you
and it's
can't.
fear.
Yes, and like they can't work together to, make everything work the way it should.
Oh my gosh.
And I feel like this would be so helpful.
I love that. I mean, that is one of my personal goals and challenges because I have so many CEO, CFO, corporate clients, and they're all in the cosmic closet.
I was gonna say, I was like, are they in the closet about this?
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, they are, and they aren't. Like, a lot of companies now have their ERGs or employee resource groups, like a women's group of this. So they, they can talk about it over cocktails and like that kind of a space. It's fun, but they like immediately like, oh my God, I feel so seen. Oh my God, this is me. This is my team. And, we'll use Enneagram and Myers-Briggs because they're peer reviewed. I mean, Myers-Briggs was started by a mother and daughter in Michigan. I'm listening to this fascinating audiobook about the history of it. It has no scientific background.
I was gonna say.
Enneagram was created by a guru in Peru. I'm like, but it's been adopted by corporations. So it's, J.P. Morgan was into astrology. There's some famous urban legend quote that he said that millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. And but he did go see Evangeline Adams, the astrologer, every year. He was a gemologist. All the crystals in the Natural History Museum, a lot of them were brought by him.
Wow.
And there's even a crystal called morganite that is named after him.
Fascinating.
So here's someone that, it's just ridiculous to me when people, it's not ridiculous because I know we've been trained to think this way, like, well, it's not science. Well, what is science? Observation and drawing conclusions based on observation. And we know less than 1% of the knowledge in the universe. So just because it's not in your known sphere, it's like the people who are saying things like that are protecting their egos, like you said.
Yeah.
I know this, I studied this, I am certified in this. Well, you look at women's health research, menopause, listening to Mary Claire Haver, Dr. Haver, and she's saying that in medical school, they spent less than 30 minutes on menopause.
Wow.
Yet it's something that every woman will go through. So don't tell me that you're a doctor and therefore you know more than I do or someone else who has a lived experience does.
Yep.
Okay, rant over.
No. But I think that's why, the book... titling it The Astrology Advantage. I mean, I think I've kind of influenced my husband in many aspects. He's in finance, and I've kind of introduced him to different modalities and different practitioners and whatnot, who he taps into and kind of uses on a regular basis, but doesn't tell people, right? And I told him recently, I'm like, you're in a leadership position. Like, it would be really cool to kind of bring this stuff in and make it a bit more mainstream and like kind of an alternative way to build a culture, like do team building. So I'm sure I'll be connecting you.
Book because this is made for and you know what? I have gotten an amazing response from men. So like it's more of the patriarchal culture than men. Because when I love talking to men about this, they just look, they've been and it could be biological too. I mean, look, that brain chemicals and hormones are real, but like when you show them something that makes sense, or this type of person, whatever gender they identify as, like they get it. Yeah. They're like, oh, I see. Okay, it's like a personality test, and that was the idea. People shoot down things that they don't understand, and it doesn't help that a lot of the people who are representatives of astrology are very like, oh, well, it's a full moon, okay, guilty as charged, but like you gotta know your audience. You go to a finance bro and tell him Mercury's Gatorade, I mean,
totally.
And then hope he's gonna adopt this.
Well, that's why I think it's really interesting the words that you've used, the innovator, authority, maven. It has kind of like a masculine aspect to, or flavor to them, like personally when I read them. And I don't read it as like, oh, I can't tap in. It's more like this becomes a bit more applicable across the board.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than having kind of this spiritual language and people being like, can I even?
Yeah, that was the idea. Like, because I actually did it for like the women that came to me. It was like women and men. We were teaching our Astropreneurs workshop. It was a year-long course for like people who wanted to start businesses who were in spiritual fields. So I call astrology spiritual technology. There's a lot of spiritual technology. And these people were, maybe wanting to either grow or start practices using what they had. And it was too hard to try to teach them their whole chart and business principles at once. So this was meant to shorthand it. So that, like you said at the beginning, they could have it right at their fingertips, get right into it, use it. And people really did. They built their businesses. Someone sold their business.
Wow.
It was funny. She was an authority. She had 8 fire planets and authority planets. And she had a chili pepper business. But it was like this artisanal chili peppers.
Wow.
So they were all like, farmed a certain way and grown in these special processes. So we helped them with their rebranding based on her. We did what we call an Astro audit and looked at her whole I am and composition. They changed up all their branding and everything. And then someone bought their company.
Wow. How cool.
Yeah. So I love the tangible, practical. I'm the daughter of an immigrant. I'm an innovator, Capricorn rising, Jupiter and North nodes. So I love taking this stuff and making it something that I love to bring the power of the 5D and help people succeed in the 3D with it.
Yeah, you do so beautifully.
Thank you.
Before we get into 2025 predictions, I just want to look at both Krista and my I am charts because we're both mavens, but there's some differences there.
Let's look at that. So there are 84 possible combinations, and anyone who gets the book, I won't be giving you a link, we made a bonus guide called the 84 types, and they each got a quick name for them. So she is an earth maven, and I think you're a fire water maven for you.
I feel like hold on one second.
It's on the second to the last page. So
she's fire.
Oh, she's fire.
Wait, is that the dominant?
That is, let me see. Oh, that's Krista. She is, you know what? I think that is a little typo for you. She actually is dominant earth I'll
Okay.
remake this for you.
Yeah, no worries.
1 fire, 8 earth, 1 air, 3 water. So yeah, she is she's the earth maven then. So
Cool.
she's the cultivator, a nurturing and patient cheerleader who helps others grow and develop their potential.
Yes, I mean, so accurate.
so
She's
accurate.
a coach and retreat leader, and obviously what she's done with Almost 30 as well. But I think right now in her work,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very, very prominent.
So the earth, there's one earth maven sign, and that is Virgo, the mutable earth
Wow.
sign. So she's actually, so even though she's a Pisces, she's actually in her dominance the most like a Virgo.
Wow.
Which is funny because you are the Virgo, and she's, yeah. So let's look at yours too.
So, okay, let's see.
So we gave each of them a name, which is really fun. We're just looking at the Olympic athletes in this. So you're the fire earth maven, the butterfly, an individual who has a talent for turning ideas into tangible products or outcomes, transforming the mundane into the extraordinary. So true.
Love that.
And so you're like the fire maven is Sagittarius and the earth maven is Virgo. So you're like a Virgo Sag combo.
Yeah, bringing the mundane into the extraordinary.
I mean, all your musical stuff that you do.
That, and I'm starting a brand, New Mom on the Block. So bringing motherhood and
God,
I've
that's
just
so
been thinking a
perfect.
lot about like how I didn't mean to take transitions in my life and like build
But the
things around them.
butterfly,
Yeah,
that
the
is all about the
transformation.
transition. Yeah.
Wow, very cool, very cool,
Oh,
very
I
accurate.
can't wait to hear about this brand. I mean, it seems so perfect, like the Sagittarius, like visionary. There's a new way to be a mom.
Yes.
But I bet it's very, very pragmatic too.
Yeah, and inclusive, and just I think for me it's like celebrating everyone's flavor of motherhood, because I feel like people just outsource their
So
intuition so
perfect.
much, So
Perfect
can
for the
we-
maven, because maven is about community building. It's
I
about
love
the
that.
us, the we. The mutable signs are like, let's get all the voices heard, not one size fits all. That's the problem with the world we live in that skews overly authority.
Yes.
It's like we're looking for the right way, the atomic habits, the this, the that. Like, it's good. We can take a little bit from that. but,
Sure.
That's very
Yeah.
exciting.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll be asking you a million questions about
Absolutely. Please do.
using the Astrology Advantage.
Yes.
Okay, you both always gift us a bit of a prediction at the end of episodes, and I'm so grateful. We've done them in the past, and I believe like you've done the last time I saw you predicted for me personally when I would be pregnant and all the things, which
Yeah.
was very accurate and so fun. So would love a more kind of pulling up and out for people, a bit of a projection of 2025, what we can expect.
Yeah, so 2025 is a really big year. We're calling it the year of the sacred pendulum in our book.
Wow.
Sacred probably it may have a different adjective by the time the book comes out, but it's a pendulum because the outer planets are moving into new signs, all of them.
Whoa.
Some that we've never even experienced in this lifetime. So Neptune is moving into Aries, but they'll be in and out. They're making a little sneak preview and then they'll go in. So
Okay.
Neptune's been in Pisces since 2012. I think 2011 even, but 2012. So this whole, and Neptune is spirituality. So it's been in its home sign of Pisces, which gave us all of the woo-woo world that we live in. Now it's moving into Aries. That's going to be a very different flavor. So we have a few months where it's in Aries. And then Pluto is going to have its first full year in Aquarius. It's the only one. It's gone back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius. There's no Earth planets next year. So we have Uranus, which has been in Taurus since 2017-18, is going to move into Gemini, first time since the 1940s, and World War II that it's going to be in Gemini. So this is going to be a new kind of the second half of the decade is air focus too. We're going to Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini. Air is technology, society. I think we're going to see like multi-level streets by 2030, like a lot more flying, drone, airspace kind of things, space travel. So we're moving into that part of the decade more communities, more intentional community. Your new mom on the block might end up like being a real estate venture because people cannot handle. I mean, I have a puppy and I can't even handle raising her alone. So, and I am a mom, so it's like I just like I need a permanent personal assistant who I'm just watch my puppy. So
yes,
so she doesn't have to be. You have a dog, I have a dog. Let's hang out. Let's have a co-working commune. So we're moving into this communal living. The North Node, our collective destiny, is going out of Aries. It goes backwards. It's going into Pisces all year. So thank God, some compassion.
What is that going to feel like? Yeah,
much more. We're going to go between science and spirituality. I think it'll be good for our brand. Great year for you guys to come out with a book too, because people are going to realize without spirituality, we do not have a proper compass.
Wow.
So it's been Aries Libra this year, which is war and peace. The last year and a half, 100% been that. Eclipses in October of 2023, and in Libra, then Aries and Libra in March and April of this year. So we've been really dealing with that theme, but we're moving into more of that compassionate. So yeah, we could end up with a female president. It's funny, right before this airs, August 19th of 2024 is the most insane day I've seen. So it's an Aquarius full moon. It's the first day of the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. But the full moon is in this, what's called a T-square, a three-way tug of war with Mercury retrograde and Uranus in authority signs. So it's going to be this whole like, oh my God, what do we need for this country kind of thing. But then there's another T-square of Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, and that's in Maven sign. So there's going to be so much like information to process.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And there's a Jupiter-Saturn square. So I don't know if you remember the Great Conjunction of 2020 when...
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a beginning.
Was that in December?
That was December 21st of 2020.
Yeah.
They called it the Christmas star. So it's when Jupiter and Saturn every 20 years come to the exact same point in the sky. And it was in Aquarius. So some thought it was the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Well, 4.5 to 5 years in, it's what's called the opening square, when they come to a 90-degree angle, the first checkpoint. That's happening on August 19th under this full moon.
Okay.
So we're getting a progress report of how we've been doing with this kickoff to the age of Aquarius that's going from 2020 to 2040. So that is what's on tap between now and 2025. But a lot of big shifts. Saturn's going to go into Aries, between Pisces and Aries. So it's like fire and water, air, like new energies. So do not get too fixated on anything because big changes are ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of people's personal astrology, is there anything to look at in the new year related to kind of like the more general astrology? Is there anything that you would recommend people look at?
We're going to be in a 9-year, which is the end of a cycle, end of a 10-year cycle. You add up 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5. That's
It's interesting because it's our 9th year with almost 30, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So 9 years are about transition. It's going to be the year of the wood snake. So snake is ruled by Venus, and so it's about beautification, love, but like it's that Kundalini energy. Very transformational. It's good year to be a butterfly.
Wow.
A lot of transformation. And yeah, for all of us, just looking at ways we can merge and connect our energy. It's not the me era. We're coming out of the dragon year. This has been a hugely transformational year too. It's like, what is enough is the question, really. These wood years, 2024 and 25, is about growing and expanding, but like, how much is enough? What are you planting? Planted a lot in 2024. We're going to see what grows out of what we planted in 2025 and make some decisions. Do we want to keep planting that or not?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm excited for 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, and do we feel like as we get what are they saying about 2027?
Oh, yeah. A lot of human design stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
Is there relevance to that in astrology too?
There's
I didn't know
a
where it
point
came
with
from. I just had it in my
Uranus and
brain.
Gemini, but I do believe that with free will we can impact. So I'm telling everybody about the
Yes.
election. I'm like, well, number one, just vote, and that's how you can help.
Yes.
But it ain't over till it's over. Like,
Right.
did we think there was going to be a pandemic? Yes, everybody thinks they saw it in the stars. We did see, whoa, that's a big historic event that's going to happen. We did predict in our book a black swan event that couldn't be guessed, but those happen.
Yeah.
And so don't fix your mind on doom. You really do have a part, especially with the age of Aquarius being here.
I agree with that. Yeah, the collective consciousness is it can be so powerful.
It really can.
In either direction.
It really can. So focus on what you do want, not what you don't.
Yeah. Amen. Oh, I'm so happy that we could make this happen in
too.
person. The book is The
too.
Astrology Advantage, and it is out now. We have all of the links in the show notes, so make sure to get your copy. And people can find their specific chart breakdown.
Yep. astrostyle.com/IAM. We have all of our calculators there. If you get the book from us, you get all the bonuses, the 84 types book. And
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. And the link to get the book, just we can say it here, and it'll also be in the notes. But
Yep. Same link.
Same link.
astrostyle.com/IAM. Tried to make it all in
amazing.
one place.
Okay, great. Perfect.
And wherever
Amazing.
books are sold, it's there.
Awesome.
Better be.
And y'all, they have 21 other books, 20 other, like, it's wild. I'm so grateful. Every one of them, I feel like, I said this before we came on, is that like very divine download for what people need in that moment. So peruse the AstroTwins library as well. But thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. And I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you so much to Ophi of the AstroTwins for coming on, talking to me about the Astrology Advantage, their new book. Her and her sister Tali, this is their 21st book, I think, which is crazy. This is all about using your horoscope for personal and professional success. You can go to astrostyle.com to get the book, take the quiz, and more.
Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for being a part of Almost 30 Nation.
Bye.
Bye.